Welcome to the Politics Chicks podcast. I'm Christy Branham.
And I'm Monica Healy.
This week on the podcast, we're joined by Cody and Adam Dahlson, a married couple who less than a year ago became the proud parents of two beautiful twins. But their journey into parenthood hasn't been easy. From a scary premature birth to finding out that both their babies have a rare genetic disorder, these two have been through it. They're here to talk about love, marriage, raising kids, and what it really means to show up for your family even when things get tough and the road ahead is anything but certain. It's a story about heart, grit, and the kind of love that doesn't flinch. Please join us in welcoming Cody, Adam, Finnley, and Hadley to the show.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Excited to
Hey,
be
guys.
here.
We're so excited that you're here. Hi, guys. Look at those little guys.
Hi, babies.
Too cute. Well, I'm super excited that you guys said yes. I feel like I'm calling in all these favors with all of my friends, but I think your story is so beautiful, and we wanted to be able to share it with our readers and our viewers and our listeners. So thanks for showing up for us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
So let's start with your story. How did you two meet? What's the moment that made you realize that this was the real deal?
Well, we actually met on Facebook. Yes, Mr. Penn does a lot to say. Yeah, we met on Facebook. I was going through my friends and doing like a spring cleaning, as you will, and was deleting people I didn't know or didn't really talk to. And I came across Adam, and I just sent him a message. Was like, "How did we meet? How do we know each other? Why are we friends?" And it just kind of took off from there. And I was actually in West Virginia at the time doing a theater contract, and he was back home in North Dakota. And so we were talking for about a month and a half before we met in person until I got home. And then we had our first date like the day after I got home, and then we started together from then on. Yeah.
We spent like probably a week together, and we're like, okay, well, this is going somewhere. So let's see how far we can take it.
Yeah, cool. Well, so it kind of sounds like you guys like knew from the get-go that this was kind of maybe it for you, or potentially it, right? Because how
Yeah.
old were you
Yeah.
guys when you met?
2015. So
I was 24, about to turn 25.
yeah, I was 21.
You guys are babies.
Yeah,
Holy
that's what I
moly.
was going to say. You're babies. Babies having babies.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like you guys knew pretty early on that it was gonna be a thing for the two of you. And at what point did you guys talk about wanting to eventually become parents? Like not necessarily together, although you end up together, but when did parent conversations come up? Like when did you tell each other that you wanted to be dads?
I'd always known since I was a little boy that I wanted to be a dad. I'm a kid, so it's always been on my radar. Now, the hard part was agreeing on a number because I grew up with three sisters. There's four of us, so I wanted at least 3 or 4 kids, and Adam was like, one.
I
One.
I have one sister, and I thought 2 was more than enough, and I was one of those children. So I, yes, only wanted one.
And to compromise on a 2 for 1.
I suppose if you take an average of 3 and 1, that's 2. So,
Yeah.
well, you and Monica have something in common because Monica actually adopted her oldest daughter.
We do. And I'm sure my process was very different. It was back in 1999. And our oldest daughter is actually from Russia. And at the time, we really assumed that we would go back and adopt other children and at the very least go back and show her where she was from. And we all know what has happened since 1999. So that has changed. But walk us through your process. What was it like to grow your family emotionally, legally, logistically?
It was kind of crazy. So I feel like when we started talking about it, it was like a year. And then we decided because we weren't sure what we wanted to do, if we wanted to do adoption or surrogacy. So we kind of, I guess, talked about both options and went with I think adoption was the cheaper route.
It was more affordable for sure. Yeah, surrogacy runs anywhere from like 80 to $120,000. So yeah, just cost wise, it was the better choice for us. And yeah, we found an agency and we submitted our adoption profile, and they actually accidentally posted our profile before our home study was completed, and we were selected in 3 weeks. So had they not accidentally posted our profile, this family never would have found us and we would not be where we are today. So definitely felt like, the stars aligned and we were meant to be their dads. And um yeah, it's kind of a cool story how that all ended up happening accidentally, but the best accident that's ever happened to us, for sure. Yeah.
That's amazing to hear how quickly that process went because you hear people talk about how long it stretches, and it really does sound like this was meant to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. Then that was one thing we asked too when we met with the agency, like, what's the average, I guess, timeline? And she said, well, we've had people who it's taken like 6 weeks, and we've had people who it took like 7 years. So,
A big span. We
yeah.
definitely weren't expecting a 3 week turnaround. Um, the birth mother was 15 weeks pregnant, so we should have had, I don't know, 25 weeks to prepare, but they were born at 33 weeks. So we actually had like 18-week turnaround from not knowing when we were going to be dads to having two.
Well, what was it like when you found out you were having twins, though? Was it like double the excitement or double the panic or maybe both?
Definitely both. Yeah, I would say we looked at each other and we talked about it for like 30 seconds and it was a yes. Like we knew, like, this is happening for a reason. We're being chosen for a reason. The birth family has a really cool story as well. So I'm sure we'll get a little bit into that later, but
Well, do you
yeah.
want to go ahead and share that now? That would be great to hear.
Sure. Yeah. So the birth mother and birth father live in Dickinson, North Dakota, and they have a little daughter of their own already. Unfortunately, the birth father has had a traumatic brain injury from some abuse when he was an older teenager. And the birth mother has the same chromosome deletion and disorder that the kids have. So, cognitively, the parents aren't fully prepared to take care of children. So, their now 2-year-old daughter is in custody of the paternal family. So they still live in the area. They still get to see their daughter a lot. But she's with the grandma who's the best caretaker for her that she could have. So when they found out they were pregnant again with twins, grandma said, I cannot take two more babies. So yeah, they found the adoption agency that we went through that specifically works with LGBTQ plus families, and they're kind of known for that. So they specifically sought that out, and they had picked us and one other couple, and yeah, ended up choosing us. So it was a pretty exciting day. I'll never forget, it was at rehearsal when they called us and told us that we had been selected as a possibility. And then just a few days later, they told us they officially had chosen us. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
You
Wow.
you mentioned earlier that the twins came early. How many weeks did you say?
They were like 6.5 weeks early. Yeah, they were born at 33 weeks and 4 days.
And can you talk about that experience and what those first days and weeks in the NICU were like?
Yeah. It was pretty wild. They were supposed to be born in Bismarck, but yes, and their NICU was full in Bismarck, so they were flown to Fargo, where I went to college and where Adam and I met and spent a lot of time. So it actually was a huge blessing for us. We have a lot of friends and family in the area. We're super supportive. We got to stay in the Ronald McDonald House, which we didn't really have an idea of the extent of what they do for families. Now, anytime we go to McDonald's and get change, we are putting it in that box. It's a really, really cool program to check out. They take care of basically everything, your living needs, your food needs. They put us up in the Ronald McDonald House just a block away from the hospital, and it's completely free. So it's a huge, huge relief for families that really need it. So just will throw out there for their own McDonald's posts. They were great.
I've never known anyone who's actually had to stay in a Ronald McDonald House. So what was that experience like? Were there other families that you were, you know, surrounded by? Were you guys supporting each other in that situation?
I wouldn't say it was pretty much like an apartment, actually. And then so there was, I don't know, probably 20 to 30 units in the whole building. And the main floor is like a common area. There was like a large kitchen that you could use. And they did like community meals, but it's a hard time. Like, it felt pretty heavy. Some people are there for pretty serious, intense things. And I would say most people kind of keep to themselves, but everyone's giving a friendly hello and a smile here and there. But um, yeah, I don't know. We didn't really spend a lot of years spending so much time at the high school, and
We like would get up and go to the lounge and go back to the room to sleep. So we would go there. I mean, we'd probably had like 2 meals while we were there and saw people, but for the most part, weren't there very often or as much as.
yeah, we were there for 18 days, um, which is really fast for how early they were born. So it was kind of a relief that they were able to excel and pass all their tests that they needed to pass to get out.
And I know you
Well,
love my house.
so you know that the mom has the same chromosome deletion um, disorder, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Did you know that prior to adopting, or was that a surprise?
It's a surprise,
But she also just found out. So if it hadn't been for like Finland has seizures, like we would not have known, she would not have known. So it was kind of like a surprise to everybody involved in the adoption. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to have that answer and, be it 24 years later for her. We're just happy that she knows and we know, and we can be there to support her as she's, navigating this without many people.
Okay, can I just jump in and say how amazing it is to hear from adoptive parents that you are supporting the birth mom? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're really happy. We originally had said we would prefer a semi-open adoption, and they preferred a fully open adoption, and I'm really glad that we decided to do that. We have a full open line of communication. We really connect with them on a personal level, obviously, for choosing us to have their kids, but they check in and we check in on them, and it's just, they're part of our family now too. So yeah, it's a lot to take in that the birth mom's name is Crystal. She went through her whole life struggling and not knowing what was going on. And she also was adopted, but it was a closed adoption, so they don't have any information on the birth mom and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, so it's been quite the journey for everybody, to say the least.
So this has actually been beneficial for Crystal too, because, now she has a clear understanding of why she has struggled her entire life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is really, I think it's really amazing that you guys have not only decided to keep this as an open adoption, but that you, like Monica said, that not you don't feel obligated, but you want to be a support to their mom, and that you do stay in communication and have an open line of communication. And I think it's going to be an amazing experience for the twins as they grow up, for their mom to be able to see them grow up, and for them to, know who she is and not have to question who they are. So,
Absolutely.
I
yeah,
just met you today, but I already know you guys are just good people.
they are. I've known them for a while. They are.
Thank you.
So, when did you first start noticing signs that something might be different with Finley's health? Because it was just Finley at first, right?
So Finn started having blue spells And it happened right before Christmas. He We were making Christmas cookies. It was December 21st, and we were making Christmas cookies, and he kind of went limp and like just dropped his head. And Adam said, something's up with Finn. And we looked at him, and his lips were blue, and he wasn't really responsive. And so obviously we called 911. Um, EMTs came out, every fire department, everybody came out. They were at our house in like 4 minutes. They were super fast and responsive, so that was a relief. But they took his vitals and said everything looks normal. Keep an eye on him. He could have just been sitting weird in the baby carrier that he was sitting in. We said, okay. So we kept our eyes on him like crazy that night. He was fine. The next morning, we were at the store and we were just about to check out, and Adam looked at him in the car seats and he was blue again. So we immediately took him to Children's Hospital. So that day, that Saturday that we took him in, he had the one at the store. And by the time we had gotten to the hospital and in the emergency room, he had had another like 5 seizures. So yeah, he had about 5 seizures that day. They didn't know that they were seizures at the time. So he went to the NICU, and put EEGs on him. And that's when they caught one of the seizures on the machine.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Talk about written in the stars that the two of them ended up in the Twin Cities, where we have a premier health system and we have a world-class children's hospital and the
Absolutely.
University of Minnesota right here to be able to help you guys out.
We've really felt that with some other families that we connected with online who said, they will get a genetic test or a result back, and they would have to wait 8 or 9, 10 months to get in. We were in within a week. Yeah. So we definitely feel really, really blessed at where we are living and the state that we're in, that, focuses and really prioritizes healthcare, because that was huge for us in a really scary time. So after he was in the hospital having seizures, his neurologist recommended that we did a epilepsy panning. So it's a genetic test where it tests all 320 genes that are responsible for epilepsy. So when they did that test, it came back and he had a deletion of KIF1A gene, which is a super rare genetic neurodegenerative disease. It's really unknown because it's less than 500 people worldwide that are diagnosed. So it was a really big question mark. Like, what's next? What does this look like? But it's pretty scary. It's being degenerative. It does worsen. It does get worse over time, and it is a terminal illness. So it was, a really, really heavy time for us. I don't want to say that they misdiagnosed, but they didn't have the full information before we got that. So we kind of spiraled. It was scary. Yeah. It was a really, really, really hard time. But they did some further testing. So they did, after fighting for, I don't know, 4 months to get the further testing, they approved Hallie's testing right away. But they denied Finn's testing, saying it was not medically necessary, which doesn't make sense because Hallie's never had a seizure and he's had probably 50, 60 seizures at this time. So they did her test and saw the same KIF deletion, and then they did the chromosome full test where they test all 26,000 genes. And that's where they found that Hallie was missing 82 genes, which included that KIF1A gene. And then months later, just recently, we got his official testing done as well. So they both are missing 82 genes on their second chromosome. So their diagnosis is called 2q37 deletion syndrome. So it's basically just the location of the chromosome and where it's missing from it, Betty. I know. But yeah, it's been, we've learned a lot. They've helped us through a lot. This is also an a nano rare disease. It's less than 200 people worldwide are diagnosed with 2q37. Um, they think the numbers is probably more in the thousands because so many people are misdiagnosed, or they've come so far with genetic testing in the last even 5-10 years. So a lot of people, their kids are, showing symptoms like Finn, and then they get tested to see where it came from. And then the parents find out as a grown adult, like, no idea that they have the same disorder. So it's such a spectrum disorder. It really affects everybody differently. Yet we are so happy that it's not the original diagnosis that we received of having a KIT1A mutation of the gene. They have a deletion, so the gene missing is quote unquote better and it makes a mutating. So the, the chromosome disorder they have is not degenerative. It will not get worse over time. Symptoms might just present differently or more intensely as they grow older. But again, it's such a spectrum. Hallie is showing no signs. She's developing great. She's actually headed developmentally on some things. Whereas Finn is struggling a bit. He's just now sitting up on his own, but he's not crawling. He's not standing very well. And he just has some mobility things going on. So that's the biggest, symptoms that show are seizures and global developmental delay.
And for our listeners and viewers, they are both almost 1, correct?
Yes, on July 23rd, they will be.
So I'm assuming you have a big birthday bash planned for them with the family
Yes.
and all that.
Yeah, we do. The weekend before, we're having their big birthday, because the day after their birthday, on the 24th, we are flying out to Boston to go to the KIT1A conference. When we got that original diagnosis and we reached out to this organization, it's called KIT1A.org. They're a great program that helps support these families. And we were super blessed with a lot of friends and family that helped support us go through our GoFundMe. And we felt it was really important to still go and connect with these families. And there's other kids with deletions that go, even though they're not necessarily just a KIT1A patient. So, yeah, we wanted to just meet some of the families and get to go see Boston and see how we can help continue support the KIT1A community, because there's so many rare diseases out there that nobody knows any clue about. And yeah.
I'm sure that will be bolstering for you to be around other families that have, gone through a similar experience of getting this rare diagnosis, whether it's the same diagnosis or something else. And that's something that no parent is ever prepared for. And how did you cope with that news? How did it affect your relationship?
I feel like it did not go well. Especially um with the news. I have just been super anxious since the very beginning. Like, they were born early, we were in the NICU, we had it just was a lot. And then to have that, like you said, nobody thinks to like have that come up as a parent or whatever. And it just happens and you have to deal with it as it comes, sort of thing. So you take everything one day at a time and go from there, I guess. I'm still kind of coping, and it's been a few months. So,
And therapy is great. Everybody should try therapy and go to therapy.
Well, I think Christy and I could tell you, as the parents of adult children, that worry and that care and that love never goes away.
No,
Goes away. Yeah.
no, no, they're always going to be your little one,
Yep.
no matter,
Mhm.
even though, my littlest one now is 21, but you always have that sense of worry and anxiety about, are they safe? Are they getting what they need? Are they happy? That never really goes away. So,
Yeah.
and stressful situations like this, all three of our kids had an IEP in school. We have two of the three are on the autism spectrum. Those things are difficult and it's hard on relationships. And it really it gives you an idea of how strong the relationship is because those things can either tear you apart or they can bring you closer together. And how do you guys feel like this? How did this help your relationship bring you guys closer together?
Yeah. No, I'm gonna cry again. I'm the big step out of us.
I'm such a dad. So for me, that was where my head went. Had you like situations like this, I even said to my therapist, I was like, it's gonna either make or break our relationship, and I don't want it to break it. Um, so just showing each other and telling each other that it'll be fine and everything is gonna be okay. We have to figure it out, but we can't. I guess that the stressors of it all get you like individually to where we don't we aren't able to, I guess, talk it through and figure it out together. But it's been really difficult for me, I guess, just because we have two babies versus one, and dealing with all of it with one would be hard enough, but then having two, I mean, Hallie doesn't have anything right now, so it's like a little bit easier, but also we still have to take care of her while we're taking care of him. So it's been hard.
Cody, you weren't in Little Mermaid at Morris Park, right? Your first show was Big Fish.
My first show at Morris Park was Once Upon a Matches.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember seeing you in that. Haley Newman was in Little Mermaid, and for her anniversary this year, she posted something on her Facebook page. I just wanted to bring it up because it hit me. And what she said to Anthony, her husband, is it's never been you and I versus each other. It's always been you and I versus the problem. And I think that's a really good way to kind of look at things when you deal with things like this as parents and as a couple, looking at the two of you being on a team and you're not on opposing sides, you're on the same side and you're dealing with this collaboratively together. Do you think that helps to look at it that way? As opposed to you both being on your own island and having to deal with it on your own?
I would say we've found a system that really works for us. And, Adam really runs the house for us. He takes such good care of all of us. And we kind of split it up in a way of I do more of the medical things and setting up the appointments and things like that. Um, Whereas, in a family with not having to deal with the medical issues and things like that, we could really be splitting the load and sharing the load. And it feels a little overwhelming at times to be doing both things. So we kind of split it up, and I think that has really helped. And rather than both try to do both things at the same time, but obviously I wish that I could be more supportive and help with the things, and I'm sure he wish he could do the same. But I think we have done a really good job in trying to help remind each other that um, this is us together against, everything, and we can't let it come between us. And, we really just have each other at the end of the day. Like, at the end of life, your parents are gone, your kids grow up and move out, and you still have your other half. Like, your partner is always going to be your partner. So, um, yeah, it's definitely not easy.
Well, and anyone who, looks at your marriage and say Monica and Mai's marriage to our husbands and says that they're different, they're not. Because that's how our house is. That how your house runs, Monica? You kind of had your things that you were in charge of, and Scott had his things, because in my house that's what it was like.
Yeah, and you have to find a division of labor and a balance, and it's going to be different from one household to another, and you find what works for you. And I got to jump in for people that are listening and not watching because, oh my God, these babies are so adorable. And Cody's wearing a hat And Hadley thinks it's so yummy, and she's chomping on the hat. And oh my gosh, they're so cute. I just want to reach through the screen and just grab them because they're just adorable.
Well, you're going to have to meet him in person when you come back to Minnesota because Monica's in
Yeah,
California right now. She's only there for what, 10 more months?
10 more months.
10
Although
more months.
I really, really like it. Like, it was so not on our radar to do this move, but it's really nice here. I do love Minnesota too, though. So I'm sure
Well, and
we
she's
will
in
be back.
SoCal too. So it's like
Yeah.
80 degrees and sunny every single day.
No, like
Oh,
no rain.
beautiful.
72 and sunny and no
Ah.
rain. Like, it's just
Oh,
perfect
okay.
all the time. We
Oh
don't even
my
look at the
gosh.
weather. Like in Minnesota, we're always looking at the weather because it changes every 15 minutes. I don't even
You
look at
have
the
to.
weather
Yeah.
here. It doesn't change.
That's awesome.
Moving forward with the twins, knowing now, finally having the answer and getting the answer, honestly, relatively quickly with the genetic issue, because like you said, I mean, I have friends who it took them 6 months to even get in with a geneticist, and then it took another 3 months to get the results of the testing back. So you guys were kind of blessed to get the answers relatively quickly. What is the outlook for both the kids, and what shaped how you've moved through life now, knowing that as parents, as a couple, and planning together what the rest of your life is going to look like? I mean, obviously the focus is going to be on the kids for now, but what is the outlook with them?
So medically, it's a lot of, routine testing. Big things are kidney scans. This chromosome deletion is known for, um, tumors on the kidney. I can't remember the name of the tumor, but, Wilms tumor, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So kidney scans every 6 months, ophthalmology every 6 months. At this time, Hallie doesn't need PT or OT, or speech. But Finn is on weekly for PT and OT. I'm sure he'll be on speech therapy in the year or so. I suppose I don't really even know when they start speech therapy, how young, but yeah, it's Finn's biggest thing is managing his seizures. So maintaining good medication levels and all that kind of stuff is really his biggest thing. And then getting him caught up developmentally. And I hope this one slows down a little bit because, oh my goodness, she's all over the place all the time.
Christy mentioned living in Minnesota and the great healthcare system that we have there and the great health facilities there. And do you foresee any changes given what has come down the pike with some of the policies that have been put in place?
Yeah, so um we're still in the process of all the applying for Medicaid and all that stuff. So we're not really sure, honestly. Just from a quick Google search, supposedly the program that they would be on is not being cut or losing funding. So yeah.
Yeah.
But it's Minnesota is great, but they're not very quick at anything. Everything takes a long time, and I think that's pretty normal. In that, especially in the healthcare field. So, yeah, it's been a struggle a bit for that side of things, but luckily we don't solely rely on Medicaid. We do have insurance through Adam's work, so we definitely feel blessed to have at least something to help our work on some of their stuff for sure.
Well, and Monica and I were talking about this on our last podcast that I believe it was last week or the week before that Governor Walz did a press conference to talk about steps that Minnesota was taking to kind of insulate people who are on Medicaid in the state so that they don't get kicked off of their health care should the impact be as devastating as it's believed to be. So,
Okay.
I'm so glad that you guys live in a state where it's a priority to make sure that people have health care and access to the health care that they need and not have to worry about sky-high medical bills, because there are going to be things that your kids need. I mean, my kids had OT. It's not cheap when you have to pay out of pocket for it. So I'm just so grateful that you're here and you have the opportunity to be in a state that does such a great job taking care of their families. So,
Yeah, definitely. Their OT is through a program called Help Me Grow. So it's through your school district, wherever, depending where you get. But yeah, it's a great program. It's like early childhood intervention, but now they call it Help Me Grow, and they're doing great. So yes, definitely feel very lucky to be in a state that prioritizes the things that at the end of the day matter the most, because family or have kids that have medical issues, they don't really think about it. They don't really realize until it hits you, until it's really directly affecting you. So yeah, it was pretty devastating, what has happened and come down recently in the administration. So we're hopeful that some things can change, but we will see.
well, we got what, a little bit more than a year till the midterms. So we'll see how everything plays out, But
Mm.
if this is any reason to really start thinking about the future of this country, it's our kids. I mean, that's really why I started doing the Substack and why, you know, that's my why. Monica and I each have our different whys. My why is my kid is the kids, and not just my kids, everyone's kids. Because when it comes down to it, we're leaving them with this. This is our legacy that we're leaving with them. And we owe it to them to give the best life possible. And, that doesn't happen right now unless you're willing to fight for it. And so that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So,
And I hope your story reaches some people that realize that you can't plan for life, and those social safety nets are of vital importance. And it just because it's not a problem for you doesn't mean it's not a problem.
yeah. And
Absolutely.
compassion and empathy don't stop at the end of your front door or at the end of your nose. Compassion and empathy needs to, if you expect to have that shown to you, you have to show it to other people. So,
You guys mentioned this conference that you're going to be attending in Boston, and the organization that sponsors it. Before we move on to our lightning round, do you want to say anything more about the conference and the organization?
Yeah, so I think you guys are posting their link to their website. It again, it's a very rare disorder. So getting the word out, going to the website, donating to help these families who usually have a really, really hard road ahead of them with a terminal illness. So we feel very lucky and blessed to not be on that path anymore, but we feel for the families that we've connected with and met, and I can't imagine going through what they're going through. So we just want to support them however we can. So I urge you to when there's a Facebook birthday fundraiser, consider choosing the Kefone organization.
awesome. And when you're in Boston, because that's my stomping ground. I grew up out there. I grew up about
Oh,
30
really?
miles north of Boston. Yes. You have to take the twins to the Boston Aquarium.
Okay.
It's a super walkable
I
city.
will love
So
that.
my
It
guess is you
is.
probably will be able to walk. Like the Freedom Trail that they talk about takes about 3 hours for you to do. It is
Oh,
a really small city. When we think of big cities, we think of like Minneapolis is huge,
It's
New
very
York
walkable.
City. Yeah, Boston is very walkable, and your kids would love the aquarium. And the
yes.
way that they design the aquarium is for
I love
children.
it too.
So I'm
I'm
sure
a
Cody
big
will have a
fish
great
guy.
time.
Adam, be sure to take Cody to the aquarium.
Yes.
She would love it just as much as the twins. And I'm
Yeah.
excited just because I need a little vacation. And when we were talking about, I said we needed just a day to explore. So we're going in, and
Good.
we're leaving a day late just so we can have Sunday to explore, because there's a lot that you can see in Boston. And he's like, well, what's there to do? So I Googled and I said, there's a whole list of things that we can
Oh my
do.
God.
So
Hit me up. I'll give you a list of things to do. You got to
I'm
do the swan
excited.
boats.
Yeah,
If you go to the
please.
aquarium, right before you hit the aquarium is Old Ironsides. It's out in the harbor. So you can go on the USS Constitution. You got to go to the North End and get some really good Italian food and get some cannoli and
Ooh.
experience the Italian part of town. There's so many fabulous restaurants there.
There are like
Cop
5 restaurants that have Monica in the name. Go figure. In the
That's
Italian
awesome.
end. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Copley Place and Faneuil Hall, Quincy Market. Those are just when you guys get there, you're going to hear all these names again. But
Great
my
street
recommend,
performers there.
yeah, yeah. And Faneuil
Awesome.
Hall is really fun. It's an open air market, so it's
Oh, cool.
you've walked down. It's inside and outside. Faneuil Hall is an actual building, but it's also an open air market. So there's like a bunch of just souvenir places and like specialty shops and stuff like that. But when I was growing up, so I'm 55, when I was a kid, they would advertise for the Boston Aquarium all the time on television. And so my favorite part of the advertisement was a little girl who would stand there like this and go, I can walk like a penguin. And every time we went to the aquarium, I would do that because I would think that maybe I would get to be that little girl in the advertisement. But anyone my age who grew up in New England knows that advertisement and knows that little girl that I'm talking about. So, but
And
yeah,
definitely take the twins to get a picture with the ducklings.
for sure. For sure.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
There's a statue of Mama and the ducklings. Is it Make Way for Ducklings? Isn't that the
Yeah.
book
Oh,
by Robert
Yeah.
McCluskey? And they are often dressed seasonally. So yes, be sure to get a picture with the twins there.
They're right near
we
the
will
swan
have to do that.
boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're right near the swan boats. So if you guys do the swan boats, you'll see them. It's
I
they're
think we'll
they're
have to.
bronze statues. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
right.
And all the seafood you can eat at Legal Seafood. So
Yes.
I love
Lobster
seafood.
rolls.
mhm.
Maybe I'll expand my horizons when we're better.
Well, do you like seafood? Because lobster roll is like the most innocuous way to get into because it's you're not going to recognize the hot dog buns because the hot dog buns don't have sides to them. They're cut off. It's like white bread. I didn't understand hot
Yeah,
dog
I'm
buns in
not
the
like a
Midwest.
huge seafood. We'll go to Costco and he'll get shrimp and he'll try and get me to eat it. I can't do it. If I'll eat salmon and fish if it's cooked a certain way and if it doesn't have bones in it, and that's maybe it.
Well,
Best
you'll have
clam
to,
chowder I've ever had is at Boston Sail, right on the harbor.
yeah,
Boston Seal, clam chowder.
yeah. And Legal Seafood
And Legal Seafood.
is fabulous.
We're gonna gain like 10 times more weight and have to try
You
all this
are.
food.
You are, and you got to go to Mike's Cannoli in the North End too. That's like you'll get there. The line will be 3 hours long just to get.
You gotta
half
send me a
dozen
list of
cannoli
all
there.
these things.
Yeah, I will. So, all right,
Excuse me.
lightning round. Woohoo! Here we
You guys
go.
ready?
Brilliant.
All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna go back and forth. I got Adam. Monica's got Cody. Adam, what's one thing Cody does that never fails to make you laugh?
Make me laugh. Well, he's got a face. Can you make it's the Olsen face? All of his siblings and his dad make this face. Can you do it?
I don't know if I can. Like, I talk about this face though.
Yeah, that face. He'll just out of nowhere, he'll turn and look at me with that face, and I just can't. It's
And it has so many different meanings.
yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
all-purpose face. All right, Cody, what is Adam's most dad-like habit that he has already?
Oh, telling dad jokes. Terrible dad jokes.
Love that.
I think I'm funny. I think I'm hilarious.
I think you're
Can
hilarious,
be
Adam.
Sometimes.
It's the
Love
dad
that.
jokes.
All right, so Adam, who changes more diapers, you or Cody?
I do. It's pretty evenly split with just wet diapers, but if they're poopy, 99% of the time, I'm the one changing that diaper.
Okay, like 80% of the time. I mean, 99,
We'll say 95% of the time.
Cody, do you feel that bus parked on you?
yeah, I have a pretty bad gag reflex when it comes to smells. I have a very strong sense of smell, so
Fair.
he helps with those.
Yeah, I can handle the stink.
All right, Cody, who's the better cook? You or Adam?
Me. He's the better baker. I'm the better cook.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
I don't know. I really like to grill. I'm a big griller, so we really take advantage of the grill season. We're grilling tonight, so yeah, I would say grilling.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna throw one more at Adam since you said that he likes to bake. What's your favorite thing to bake, Adam?
I was really big into cupcakes That's like my go-to, and I usually try to make the frosting from scratch if possible, but
He's forgetting about his banana cream pie that makes from scratch.
I've only made it once.
And it was no, you made a test. You brought one to my mom's house.
Right.
And they were both.
I will definitely make that again. I do love banana cream pie, and I was happy to find a recipe that I could make, and it turned out very well. So, yeah.
Adam, if you could teleport anywhere for 24 hours, where would you go?
Fiji.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I've been wanting to go to Fiji for the longest time. I want to stay in an over-the-water hut, bungalow, whatever they're called, and just slide down into the ocean.
Nice.
Nice.
All right, Cody, I love this question because I'm a music teacher. If your life had a soundtrack, what's the first song on it?
Oh, that's hard.
You're a musical theater
Um,
person.
I know. I'm sure it's
That's hard. There's so many. Oh gosh, that's a hard one. I want to say "Believe" by Cher, but I think that's just the gay in me. But I
Okay,
don't
give me a
know.
hair flip.
That-
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess I'll just go with that because that's what I got off the top of my head.
I love it.
That's awesome. Well, you guys, we just want to thank you so much for joining us today on the show. We're so honored that you guys trusted us with your story. You shared with is this the first interview period you've done, or this is just the first podcast you've done?
Yeah, this is the first. Yeah, post. We did an interview just about the adoption process before all the medical stuff started. So yeah, this is our first one with all the answers.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for trusting us with your story and for being
Yeah.
willing to share this with our community that we're building here with our readers and our listeners and our viewers. And we're going to be sure to put links to the KIF1A website that'll include information on the Canned Conference. And we're also going to put a link to your GoFundMe. So in case people are feeling generous to help you guys get to this conference and help support wonderful things like the foundation that you're working with and maybe Ronald McDonald House. So we'll go ahead and do that too if you guys are okay with that.
And if you are finding meaning in the stories we're sharing, if something moves you, challenges you, or makes you see the world a little differently, please like, comment, and share. It helps more than you know. It puts our work in front of more eyes and goes miles in helping us grow this amazing community.
And follow us everywhere at The Politics Chicks. We're on Substack, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Thanks for being a part of our community. Keep shining your light so we can find each other in the dark.
And remember that we're always stronger together. Bye, you guys. Thanks for being here today.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for having us.
See you next week.